He had become a chaplain, but he carried a secret he couldn't tell anyone. He had lost his faith in God until he met that young soldier waiting on the bridge. In that moment, he realized that sometimes broken people can heal other broken people best. Father Daniel Hayes had been wrestling with the same question for 10 years. If God exists, why do innocent people suffer? Tonight, looking at that young soldier standing at the edge of the bridge, he saw his own past. And maybe it was time to find the answer. Welcome to the Last Stand channel. Have you or your loved ones struggled after military service? Have you experienced a crisis of faith? Share your experiences in the comments. Daniel Hayes was leaving O'Malley's bar at 11:30 p.m. He was drunk again. He was now a 48-year-old man with an overgrown beard, bloodshot eyes, and trembling hands. No one could tell he had been an Army chaplain 10 years ago. He was stumbling as he crossed Memorial Bridge. He grabbed the railing and looked down at the dark water below. "God," he muttered bitterly. "Are you still there? Can you still hear me?" That's when he saw a silhouette standing at the other end of the bridge. A young soldier, still in uniform, was standing at the edge of the bridge. His hands were shaking, his eyes staring blankly at the water. "Hey!" Daniel shouted. "What are you doing there?" Marcus Johnson turned around. He was 26, thin, with that same emptiness in his eyes that Daniel had seen 8 years ago. "Who are you?" Marcus asked. "Daniel, you?" "Marcus, I got discharged yesterday. From Iraq." Daniel's drunkenness seemed to lift instantly. He knew this scene. He knew it all too well. "How old are you?" Daniel asked. 26. I was there when I was your age. Fallujah, 2006, 2008. Marcus looked at him. "Were you a soldier?" "Used to be." Daniel's voice was filled with pain. Now I'm nothing." They both silently watched the water. There was a heavy atmosphere between them, the weight of shared trauma. "What did you go through over there?" Daniel asked. Marcus's voice broke. "I lost my buddies, all 3 of them. An IED went off. I was the only one who made it out." Daniel's heart tightened. "What were their names?" "Rodriguez, Mitchell, Thompson." Marcus started crying. "They were all younger than me. They were all married. Rodriguez had a 3-month-old baby." Daniel remained silent for a long time. Then he spoke. "I lost my buddies too, but losing them wasn't the worst part." "What was the worst part?" "They blamed me for their deaths." Daniel's voice was trembling. "As a chaplain, they claimed I gave wrong advice to my soldiers, like I had sent them to their deaths." Marcus turned and looked at him. "Was it true?" "No." Tears were streaming down Daniel's face. "But nobody believed me. The military tribunal found me guilty. I got a dishonorable discharge." "What happened then?" Marcus asked. "I tried to become a minister. I thought maybe I could serve God in civilian life, but—" Daniel laughed bitterly. "You can't be a minister without faith. People saw me, trusted me, but I was lying to them." "How were you lying?" "I'd say God loves you, but I hated God myself. I'd say everything happens for a reason, but I couldn't find meaning in my own life." Daniel buried his face in his hands. "I left the ministry after 3 years too. I had nothing left." "What have you been doing for the last 5 years?" Marcus asked. "Drinking, working odd jobs, fighting with God." Daniel's voice was broken. "Every night I go to O'Malley's bar. Every night I cross this bridge on my way home. And every night I yell at God. What do you tell him?" "Where are you?" I say. "If you exist, why are you punishing me so much? Why did my friends die? Why was I found guilty? Why is nothing going right?" Marcus nodded. I asked the same questions. "Why did you come here tonight?" Daniel asked. Marcus pulled out a letter from his pocket. "I wrote a goodbye letter to my mom. I can't take it anymore. I hear Rodriguez's voice at night. Why didn't you save me, Marcus?" he says. Daniel moved closer to Marcus. "Son, their death isn't your fault. Isn't it? I'm the survivor. Why am I alive when they're dead?" "I don't know." Daniel answered honestly. "I've been asking the same question for 10 years. There's no answer. Maybe there never will be." Marcus looked at him. "So how do you live? How do you wake up every day?" "It's hard. Very hard. Sometimes I don't want to wake up, but—" Daniel paused. "But tonight, talking with you, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. What? That I'm not alone. You understand my pain. I understand your pain, and maybe together we won't get lost in this darkness. Marcus thought for a long time. Do you really think so? I don't know, but I want to try. Marcus handed the letter to Daniel. Can you burn this letter? Daniel took the letter. Are you sure? No, but talking with you has helped more than 6 months of therapy. Maybe together we can find something. Daniel pulled out his lighter and burned the letter. They both watched the dance of flames. What do we do now? Marcus asked. I don't know, but we won't do it alone. The next afternoon, they were sitting in Daniel's small apartment. They were drinking coffee and talking. Daniel hadn't had such an intimate conversation in 5 years. What do you see in your dreams? Marcus asked. Explosions, my friends screaming, the faces of the judges at the tribunal. Daniel paused. You? Same things. Rodriguez's bloody face. His last words. What did he say? I want to go home. He wanted to go home, but he couldn't make it home. They were both crying silently. They met every day for a week. Daniel had stopped drinking, and Marcus had moved away from suicidal thoughts. They told each other their stories, shared their pain. I want to ask you something, Marcus said one day. Are you still angry at God? Yes, very angry. But I'm so tired of fighting with him that maybe I have to make peace. How? I don't know. Maybe I have to forgive him, or wait for him to forgive me. A month later, both had changed dramatically. Daniel had shaved his beard and started dressing clean. Marcus had found a sleep routine and his nightmares had decreased. Marcus, Daniel said one day, I have an idea. What? We're starting to heal. Maybe we can help other veterans too. How? I don't know, but there are other people suffering like us. Maybe we can find them. Marcus thought, a support group, maybe, or just a few more people, to heal together. 2 months later, weekly meetings had started in Daniel's apartment. 6 veterans were coming. All from different ages, different wars, but all sharing the same pain. I'm Daniel, he said at one meeting, and I'll tell you honestly, I haven't made peace with God yet. But I'm trying to see if I can make peace with you. I'm Marcus. 3 months ago, I was thinking about suicide. Daniel saved me. Now maybe we can save others. 6 months later, the group had grown to 15 people. The local newspaper had written about them, and an unexpected visitor came. Colonel Patricia Williams had come from the nearby military base. She was surprised when she saw Daniel. Chaplain Hayes? No, Daniel said. Just Daniel. I'm not a chaplain anymore. Actually, Colonel Williams said, that's what I came to talk about. As a result of a new investigation by the military, Colonel Williams said, your tribunal decision from 10 years ago has been overturned. Daniel's world spun. What do you mean? New evidence about that day was found. Someone else was really responsible. You're innocent. Your military record has been cleared. Daniel had to sit down. Marcus came over and put his hand on his shoulder. Furthermore, Colonel Williams continued, the Army offers you a formal apology. And if you want, you can return as a chaplain. That night, Daniel and Marcus talked for a long time. What will you do? Marcus asked. I don't know. I've been dreaming of this happening for 10 years. But now I'm not sure if I want to be a chaplain. Why? Because I still can't make peace with God. I'm still angry at him. But you're helping people. You helped me. You're helping the group, Daniel thought. Maybe being a chaplain isn't about believing in God. Maybe it's about believing in people. Marcus looked at him. But is that enough for you? That anger inside you, that chaos? Daniel was silent for a long time. He buried his face in his hands. I don't know, Marcus. I really don't know. Sometimes I feel so lost. I can help people, but I can't help myself. Why do you feel that way? Because when I lost Rodriguez, Mitchell, Thompson, I didn't just lose them. I lost myself too. Who I was, what I believed in, why I lived. I lost it all. Daniel's voice was trembling. And now, 10 years later, they tell me you're innocent. So what about those 10 years? The guilt, anger, darkness I carried inside me for 10 years. What happens to them? I don't know, Marcus said honestly. I don't know either, Daniel said, and that scares me. Because how can I be a chaplain without knowing the answers? How can I give people hope when I'm hopeless myself? Days passed. Daniel was in indecision. Sometimes he felt good at the group meetings. Sometimes he cried in his bed at night. One day, Marcus found him. "Chaplain Daniel, I need to talk to you." "What's up?" "Last night I saw Rodriguez in my dream, but this time it was different. He wasn't angry at me. He was just sad. Sad for me." Daniel listened. "Marcus," he said to me, "you're still alive, but you're not living, you're just breathing." When I woke up, I realized. "I understand your situation." "How so?" "We're both experiencing survivor guilt, but in different ways. I blame myself for not being able to save my friends. You blame God for not saving you." Daniel looked at Marcus. When had this kid become so wise? "Maybe," Marcus continued, "what we both need to learn is the same thing. Sometimes there's no answer. Sometimes there's just continuing to live." That evening, Daniel did something he hadn't done in a long time. He went to church. After receiving the news of his vindication, Daniel went to church that night. St. Mary's was empty, only the light of candles. He knelt in front of the altar, but this time it was different. "God," he said aloud, his voice echoing in the church, "I've been angry at you for 10 years. I've blamed you for 10 years. Tears were streaming from his eyes. "But tonight I understand that. The person I really blamed was myself. I blamed myself for not being able to save my friends. I held myself responsible for their deaths." Daniel's voice was trembling. "You weren't punishing me. I was punishing myself. You weren't moving away from me. I was running from you. Years of accumulated pain, anger, guilt, it was all coming out. Rodriguez, Mitchell, Thompson, their deaths weren't my fault. But I didn't forgive myself. How could I expect forgiveness from you when I didn't forgive myself?" Daniel was crying now, like a child. "Forgive me, God. Forgive me for what I did to myself. Forgive me for the anger I took out on you. And please teach me to forgive myself." In that moment, for the first time in years, something changed inside him. Anger gave way to peace. Darkness gave way to light. "Now I understand," he said quietly. "You were always here. I didn't want to see. Did you send Marcus to me, to heal me?" He looked at the crucifix above the altar. "Thank you. Thank you for Marcus. Thank you for the second chance. And thank you for finally feeling you again." Daniel stood up. He was a different person now. Broken but healing, wounded but strong, skeptical but faithful. When he met Marcus the next morning, Marcus immediately noticed the change. "Chaplain Daniel, your eyes look different." Daniel smiled. "Last night I talked to God, really talked, after 10 years. What did you say?" "I apologized. Not to him, but to myself. And finally I was able to make peace." Marcus's eyes filled. "What does that feel like?" "Light. I feel light for the first time. Like a burden I've been carrying for 10 years has been lifted from my shoulders." 3 months later, Daniel officially started duty as an Army Reserve chaplain. But his way of working was different from before. "I'm not a traditional chaplain," he said at his first veterans group meeting. "I'm a broken person. I still fight with God, but I don't fight with you." Marcus was also there, serving as his assistant. "Questions?" Daniel asked. A veteran raised his hand. "Chaplain, how can you be a chaplain without believing in God?" Daniel smiled. "Because even though I may not believe in God, I believe in hope. I believe in healing. And most importantly, I believe that you can help me too." A year later, they were standing on Memorial Bridge. Daniel no longer drank. Marcus no longer thought about suicide. Both had changed, but they still suffered. "Chaplain Daniel," Marcus said, "I have a question for you. Ask, were you able to make peace with God?" Daniel thought for a long time. "Yes, I was finally able to make peace. But most importantly, I was able to make peace with myself. Is that enough?" "It's enough for me, because he may not answer me, but you did, the veterans did, and maybe God speaks through our voices." Marcus nodded. "Maybe the most broken people are the strongest ones. Why?" "Because they learn to stand up after being broken, and they teach others how to stand up." If you enjoy these powerful stories, don't forget to subscribe to the Last Stand channel. We'll continue to bring you more hero stories every day. Chaplain Daniel Hayes still works with veteran groups today. Marcus Johnson is now a certified peer counselor, and the Veteran Support Network has reached more than 100 people. Sometimes healing isn't about returning to your old self. Sometimes healing is about making peace with your broken places and using your broken places to help others. In our brokenness, we find our purpose. In our pain, we discover our power to heal others.